Oi, nice to see you. Thomas has talked a lot about the importance of the substitutes of this World Cup, and true to his word, we got all five on against Croatia. And I think it's fair to say all of them had an impact as well. How heartening is that for you?
Yeah, I think everyone's crucial in this squad. I think the squad depth that we have and the players, coming off the bench the other day, I think I was really excited when I saw, 60, 70 minutes that he was basically changing the whole front three apart. Well, he brought on Rashi, BUKAYO and Morgan, and then threw in Jed at the end as well. Yeah, I think bringing on pacey players that just want to run forward, score more goals. I think it's exciting, and I think everyone's got a big part to play in this competition.
With that said, we're a bit worried about BUKAYO SAKA. We know he came with this little Achilles problem that he had from Arsenal, and he's been really positive about it in what he's said to us. From a striker's perspective, can you give us an impression of what he does differently, what makes him so special, and crucially, how did he look today?
You're trying to put me on the spot there. No, so I'm not in the physio department, but look, he hasn't missed a day of training, so I think that's a good thing. I think he's played so many games throughout these last few years. You can see because he's a crucial player for Arsenal and very important because he's a top quality player and he brings quality to the pitch for Arsenal and England. I think he's very important. As everyone can see. So I think, managing, niggles going into a competition is very important. For the later stages, you need important players like him to be ready to play and step up when called upon. So, to play with him, I've only played with him a handful of times, but he's very unselfish and, that's perfect as a striker, someone who's always looking for you. And I feel like he makes always the right decision as a footballer. Whenever he receives the ball, he's going to always make the right decision, and I think that's the hardest thing to do in football.
Top man, thank you.
Sammy? Yes.
Hi, Ollie. I don't know if you've seen, but Jeremy Doku's got some criticism for flying back to Belgium to be with to attend the birth of his first child. So on Father's Day specifically, how can I just get your personal view on maybe the criticism, and then also just generally the dynamic and complexities of being in such a demanding sport that takes up so much of your time and energy, and your commitments to family and those big moments in life.
Yeah, I saw that this morning actually. I don't know, no one in here asked the question, did they? No, I was going to say, because from my perspective, I think someone labelled it disgusting, and I think for a start that's not a way to label a birth. Obviously, I've seen what my wife had to go through in birth, and that was quite smooth sailing, but I know family members and friends that haven't had it that way. Like he said, it only happens once. Your first child, welcoming them to the world is a blessing, and you don't get that opportunity. There's a lot of times where you're away from family and friends during the season, and it's very difficult periods. So to miss that would be tough, and I see where he's coming from. I think he has all right to go back and be there. I think we're very privileged men at the end of the day, and I'm sure he will have a lot of support to be able to get back and get there as quickly as possible, make sure he's there to support her, and then fly back out. So I don't think it's anyone else's business what he gets up to after training, and I think if he goes back and does that, I think that's fair enough. I would want to do it. I've got 2 kids, like I said, and I don't see the problem with it.
Thank you. And then can I just ask a question about Ghana and some of the threat that they pose in the game, and how much homework have you done as a squad on what threat they may carry?
Yeah, to be fair, the thing I like about this manager is obviously he highlights their threats. We know that Semenyo is a great player, as you've seen in the last few seasons. but he focuses a lot on ourselves and what we're trying to do with the ball and how we're trying to dominate them and what we're doing out of possession, in possession, some tactical things we can do to hurt them. So, yeah, that's a really positive thing that I've seen from the manager. And then when it gets close to the game, so more tomorrow, we'll do some focus on them.
Ollie, you obviously work very closely with Harry Kane. He equalled the England World Cup record for goals against Croatia. Does he, to you, look physically in a much better place than he was 2 years ago? And whilst you're very different types of players, are there things that you look at and try and emulate or nick for your own game?
I think with H, I think his performances speak for himself. His goal record speaks for himself. I don't think I can really emulate what he does. I think he's very unique. The way he plays the game, he's very intelligent, and I can't play the game like him. So we have complete different strengths. I stick to what I know I can do, and I don't try and copy or do anything like that. And stick to my strengths really.
You and Ivan both scored in that friendly you had against Sporting KC the other day. It's quite an interesting approach that the manager has played these games. I know that they're not full sets of 90 minutes, but even for you as a striker, does scoring and playing a different type of opposition, does that help in its own way?
Yeah, I think so. I think, if you're just training the day after, it's tough. So there's actions that you can't repeat in a game. They happen naturally, and I think it's just good to get that flow of minutes into your legs rather than from game-based scenarios, rather than just running straight line and box to box after the game in the stadium. It's not nice to do that. I prefer to play a game after, like we have been, as tiring as it is with all the travelling. It gets it out your legs and you feel much better doing it that way. So yeah, I think from us boys, good dedication, and we've grinded it out, and it's been really enjoyable actually.
Back to Henry. Cheers.
Hi, Ollie. Westminster-super-Mare are showing all the games in the clubhouse. They've been posting good luck messages on social media. Now that you're here, and when you see that, does it make you appreciate the journey that you've been on? Because it's not been a classic journey in terms of how a lot of players come through.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure there's a lot of players here in the World Cup that have had a journey similar to mine, but in different countries. And I think everyone's probably feeling the same, very grateful. I haven't looked back really and thought about, Western showing games in the clubhouse. I've just kind of tried to enjoy every minute really. The facilities we've got and the way we're looked after is second to none. And I've just tried to take it all in, enjoy every moment, and soak it all up.
We saw you playing on the right against New Zealand. I mean, is that, you obviously want to play, but does that bring the best out of you?
I wouldn't say it's my best position. I wouldn't say it's my best position. I think it was just trying to squeeze everyone in and find positions where everyone could get minutes. That was the opening game. I don't think I'll be playing there. Bukayo and Noni are much better in that position. Let's put it that way. No, I don't think I'll be playing there. No.
Fine.
Hi, Ollie. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Love a little bit more insight from you on Morgan Rogers. Obviously, you play with him for club and for country. He's fantastic already, but how much more potential does he have?
I think Morgan can go to the very top. You've seen what he can do in a short space of time, in 18 months, how he's developed and started to perform at that top level, which has got him all the recognition that he deserves. And I think he's got his head on his shoulders at the end of the day. I think he's an intelligent guy who's hardworking and very confident in his own ability. And I think he can go to the very top. It speaks for himself.
Thank you. And then just a bit more on Thomas Tuchel. We watched him at close quarters in training. We don't get to see him. Usually he's quite quiet, standing, just observing. But yesterday he was fully fully involved in it. What's it like as a player having his coaching methods and him driving you and pushing you on every day?
Yeah, I think he's not afraid to shout at you. And yeah, he's always demanding from you, making sure you're on it every day. I think you saw it with Jed that he was saying, wake up, wake up. It was lucky that it wasn't me. I think I made a mistake just before Jed did, and he ended up shouting at Jed, luckily. But I think it just shows you that he's a winner at the end of the day, and he's always driving the standards, making sure we're on it. And I think that's what you need when you, obviously the aim is to win a World Cup. So yeah, very demanding. But when it's around the base camp, he's very relaxed and chilled.
Claire, then Craig.
England looked so capable of just the offense and scoring in that first match, but there's been a bit of criticism about the defense and if it's good enough to win the World Cup. What are your thoughts on that statement?
Yeah, I'm unsure. I'm unsure about that statement. Really, I think people are always going to try and criticize and find certain areas they can pick on, but I think defensively we've got world-class players at the end of the day who have won major trophies, played at the highest level possible. So I'm unsure about that statement, but I think maybe we started the game a little bit nervous the other day, but you've seen once the nerves were out of the lads' system, I think second half absolutely blew Croatia away. And I think it's a World Cup at the end of the day. I think this group has, have not all been together. It's the first time we've all played together at a World Cup, so there will be nerves. I think it's normal. But yeah, like I said, when that was out of the lads' system, I think the second half was unbelievable. And going forward, I think it will get better and better.
Craig.
Hi, Ollie. You revealed last month that you've spoken to Michael Owen at times over the last year or so in terms of getting that help and that insight. Michael Owen then spoke very well about it last week and took us inside that relationship. Just from your perspective, can you expand on that and what that's done for you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he said last week. I didn't.
He said you were too nice. You've got to be nastier.
Oh, did he? Yeah. No. So on the pitch, I think I've definitely taken that sort of element into the games. The back end of the season, I think you saw how well I've done, and that's why I'm here in this position. And yeah, I definitely felt it helped. But yeah, there was times where I would say I was maybe a bit too nice on the pitch. He just gave me an insight on how he felt I could improve. And at the end of the day, I felt like Michael Owen was underrated, really. I think people don't talk about how good he was, maybe just because it was the start of his career. He had that amazing run. I think if it was later on in his career, people would talk about him a lot, hold him in a lot higher regard. So yeah, I just reached out to him, and yeah, it's good that I've got that kind of a player of that quality to use as a soundboard.
David.
Hi, Ollie. Thomas Tuchel said many times that he wants England to look like a Premier League club. I'm curious about how do you think he's doing that?
Yeah, I think from his perspective, I know what he's saying. I think about the intensity of the Premier League. I think it's higher than any other league in the world. Just based off running stats, physical capability. I think you've seen the demands of the Premier League. So I think in that aspect, that's what he wants us to be like. To play on the front foot and bring that high energy and be able to, keep running and physically be, very dominant. And I feel like we're doing a good job of that.
And looking at your personal experience, as you said, first World Cup, I'm pretty sure it was your dream when you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
What are you making so far? What are you liking, and what do you think this experience will give to you and your career?
To be honest, from the games, I think it could be. Don't get me wrong. Don't quote this, but I think it could be one of the most exciting World Cups. I think you've never seen games with so many goals. Teams are scoring 4 or 5 goals. It's not as cagey. When I previously watched previous World Cups, a lot of the games maybe 1 or 2-0, very cagey. Teams don't want to come out. Whereas this, I feel like teams are on the front foot going for it, and it's exciting to watch. You know, when we're not involved in the games, like, I'm watching them, and yeah, it's been nice to see.
Ed. Yes.
Hi Ollie, you ended the season back in England in great form and obviously got into the Champions League. Villa won the Europa League, and you've got experience of playing in big tournaments and scoring winning goals for England. Do you feel that you're kind of in the best shape you could be to, you know, come on and make an impact at this World Cup?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like I understand the competition now. I understand that everyone has their moment. Everyone has a part to play. And when I see other players having their moment, I'm really happy for them, you know, because I experienced mine in a great time, obviously in the semi-final. But leading up to that point, before, everyone had a part to play in certain moments. And yeah, I know that's the same for this tournament as well.
Okay, we've got quite a few stacked up now, so keep to one question each would be great, Tom.
Hi, Ollie. Following on from that, there's been a lot of talk about Thomas's finishes, you know, subs off the bench. You're probably our best example of that from the goal against the Netherlands. Just wondered if you've given any advice to your teammates about, you know, how to act when you're on the bench during a game ahead of the chance of coming on, and if not, what advice would you give them?
No, I was speaking to Jude about it because he was asking me how, you know, what's your mentality, you know, as you know, you're not going to play. And I said I felt like there's no pressure on me to come on. At the end of the day, I think the expectation for me is people don't see me playing. Obviously, they see Harry playing, but I know what I can bring to the table. I watch the game when I'm on the bench. I can see the game opens up. It's a completely different game when you start a game of football to when you finish it. I've experienced that as a substitute. There's so many more opportunities when you come on. A lot of people are tired. They lose focus, and sometimes it can be better to be a substitute than to start the game. So yeah, I think the most important thing is, when we're not starting the game, when we're on the bench, you know, watch carefully what the opposition player is doing, because, you know, when you come on the field, then you get that opportunity to kind of punish them at the end of the day.
Ian, then Alex.
Ollie, are you a fan of the rehydration breaks? And I wondered if you thought that they're having more of a tactical impact at the World Cup than perhaps people thought they would do beforehand.
To be honest, I think, judging from when we played the first friendly game, it was very hot, and my game is like repeated sprints, so it's very hard to get your breath back. So I found it was beneficial during that game. Obviously, I've not played in the World Cup yet. I think with the closed stadium, it's different, the temperature. But yeah, I can't speak for, you know, how the boys feel out there at the end of the day. So, but I did find it beneficial in the friendly match.
Thanks. No.
From a tactical point of view, yeah, I think it just should be used just, you know, to get drinks on board and not to have a team talk. But I think if you're trying to pass a drink round to everyone, there's going to be a moment where you're all together. So yeah, why not use it as a tactical break as well?
Alex.
Hi, Ollie. Just to ask you about Elliot Anderson. He's become a key player for England in not very long at all, really.
Yeah.
Just wondering what you've seen from his progression since he came into the England squad and how he's progressed in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, I can't remember the first time in the England squad when I was with him, but I didn't realise how good he was, you know, training with him. Well, towards the back end of the season when I played against Forest in the semi-final of the Europa League, I didn't actually realise how good he was until you play against someone. I think you don't realise, and yeah, I can see why he's been spoke about in such high regard, and why he has a lot of interest, you know, around him. He can do everything really, and yeah, it surprised me, you know, his qualities.
Hamza.
Hi, Ollie. I just wanted to ask you about the Netherlands goal again. Could you just explain what it literally feels like when you get the call from the manager on the bench? What is going through your head that you're about to come on I do remember you also coming on immediately, and then I think you went to Jude and said, "Look for me," and then you had a discussion with him, and then you executed that. So you clearly had targeted something that you saw from the bench. But what's that feeling like first, and then what's it like actually going onto the pitch? Is it, "I'm now the man" sort of thing?
No, it wasn't that. I think I remember I got told to warm up and be prepared to come on. I think, and that was about 15 minutes before, and then it kept getting later and later, and I didn't think I was eventually going to come on, but yeah, I did, and I think I've spoken about it so many times before. I said I was going to score that day, and I did. But yeah, it's the best feeling to come on and change the game, and look, I'm hoping to do that again this tournament.
2 more to go. Here then, Jonathan.
Hey, Olie, Matt McMullen with the Kansas City Chiefs. You've been in Kansas City for about a week now. Just curious what you think of the city so far, and if you know anything about the American football team here.
I don't know too much about the NFL. We did get a jersey. Which jersey was it?
Kansas City Chiefs.
No, there was another one as well.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I wore a Dallas Cowboys jersey into Kansas the other day, and I was with my family, and the guy said to me, "You can't wear that around here." So yeah, I won't be wearing that again. But yeah, I don't know too much about American sports. But look, the hospitality's been amazing, and I feel like everyone's so friendly over here. But yeah, I need to check out, I think, Joe's barbecue as well, I think, at some point.
And finish it, Jonathan.
Hi, Ollie. Just how important is it to sort of wrap the group up on Tuesday with a win, game to spare?
Sorry, what was that, sorry?
How important is it to wrap the group up, qualification with a win for the game to spare?
Yeah, I think, look, every game you play, I think we want to win at the end of the day. We're preparing now for, the game at hand, and yeah, doing all we can to win. I think we want to top the group. I think we want to win every game, and yeah, progress through the next round. I think that's everyone's aim at the end of the day. But yeah, we're in a good position so far. But yeah, we need to keep building on the Croatia performance.
Thank you very much, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Cheers.